And they're short and sweet. You do have a few minutes if you want to take time.
Well, let me begin by giving you a little background. I
There
never
we go.
intended to get myself into to any of this. When I was in college, I got a job working for a Chippendale subcontractor up near Washington, D.C. I was in business school, and I was just trying to pay my tuition. So first, our manager sold us off as models. I think we did like the Pride Parade one year, stuff like that. And then it turned into birthday parties, bachelorette parties, and more and more and more, our clientele was typically lesbian women. And to me, I didn't understand why I was young. I was, 18, 19, 20 years old. But now I can kind of look back on it 20 years ago and say, all right, so that was the market back then. The market today is either the IVF clinics or, a combination of Facebook and various websites like the Known Donor Registry. If you go the IVF route, there's no possibility for the child to ever meet the father. The other routes, it's possible. For some reason, a lot of the women don't prefer that, but if, the child ever wants the option to meet the father, the IVF clinics in the United States don't offer that. I think in maybe Australia that's a possibility, but that's issue complaint number one amongst donor conceived persons. They get a little older, usually around age 5. The child starts asking about the father, and then by the time they're a teenager and an adult, they really want to know the other half of their background. Brothers, sisters, extended family. Not that they even want to know about the father, but they want to know about the family, the medical history. So suppose in the donor realm, you've got opportunities that do not exist when we're dealing with IVF clinics or the cryo industry.
Okay. All right. And Kat, I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, I do not believe in sperm donation as an option. I think you should naturally pick who you're going to raise a child with, and they need a father and a mother. And yeah.
Okay. I would like to actually go ahead and just leave the floor open if anybody wants to dive in. If not, we can prompt some thoughts.
Yeah, I'd like to just kind of dive right into this. So, Mr. Hunglo, how many children do you have total?
In the United States, that number is around a dozen. I try not to give
Just
an
total.
exact
Just
number,
total. How many do you
but
have total?
the rumor I'm getting out of the research firm in Hong Kong is 400.
Yeah. So what's the total though? Like roughly the total.
I don't have the ability to confirm that number in Asia because I'm dealing with multiple fertility corporations in Asia across multiple countries. Japan, Korea, China, Singapore. I can't give you an exact number.
Could it be okay? Can you give me a range?
The last information I got out of Hong Kong was they had estimated 400 DNA matches.
Okay, so at least 400 is what you assume at this point safely?
That's the number they're touting in Asia. They've called me the barbarian.
Okay, gotcha. So, quick couple of follow-ups. Do you give a shit about any of these kids at all?
Absolutely, absolutely. I actually got a contact about 2 years ago from a teenage daughter in Japan, and since then I've reached out in an attempt to expand real estate operations in Japan, try to get Redfin and Zillow into the Japanese market. So, maybe I could give my daughter a future in real estate in Hokkaido, managing real estate sales and marketing for U.S. firms like Zillow and Redfin. That was the idea. But yeah, I absolutely do care.
You do care about them. And how many of these children end up in single mother households?
In the United States, I've currently got that issue with 2 out of about a dozen, and it's something I've spoken with these women about indefinitely. The average divorce on the lesbian divorces appears to be about 7 years. When the child hits age 5, they start asking for the father, and that's a roadblock in the relationship that they're.
And how do you intervene on that? What is the intervention that you do when you find out that your kid is being raised by a single mom?
I maintain contact.
You maintain contact?
Yeah.
So like both of these kids' names?
Yeah, all of my children in the U.S. get to see me and talk to me whenever they want. That's why the
You
number is
just
about a
don't
dozen.
want to pay for them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Got it.
Right. So you know you're not offering any sort of help to these kids who are being raised by single mothers, even though they're your kids. Yeah, just so I can give you some stats. I just want to make sure that we're clear on this. From the single mother category, 90% of homeless kids, single mother. 89% of children admitted to psychiatric hospitals, single mother. 85% of children with behavioral disorders, single mother. 71% of children substance abuse treatment centers, single mother. 70% in juvenile correction facilities, all forms of child abuse are at least prevalent among homes with both married bio parents by a factor of 8 times or more, meaning that you're 8 times more likely in a single mother home to experience abuses as well. So when you say, oh, these kids can contact me with what? Do they get to contact you and say, hey, gee, dad, mom doesn't take care of me, has strange men who come over and fuck her at night? What do you say to them, bro? What do you do anything to assist these children at all?
So about 2 years ago, the area of Florida I live in had a major hurricane that killed about 200 people on the beach, and destroyed the homes of one of my children and his mother's. So they came to stay with me for about 4 months. But
were you having sex with either of them when they came and stayed with you?
I maintain adult relationships with the mothers of my children.
So when your kid's house got shut down for whatever this external reason was, it was nice that you allowed his mom to come stay with you so that you could fuck her, right? Isn't that what you're saying here?
I maintain adult relationships with the mothers of my children indefinitely. So
does that mean you're fucking the mothers of your children? Is that what that means?
Yeah,
okay,
100%.
So they came to stay with you because it's a booty call. So they stayed in your house. You were humping the mom. You don't have to pay a dime, and then they leave. How exactly is this assisting the child?
My kids get to see me whenever they want.
Yeah, how is it? How do you assist them though? Through financials, through assisting in their school, for instance. Number 2 kid, do you know the name of the school he goes to?
Yeah.
Or she?
Yeah, absolutely.
And have you paid a dime towards any of the school tuition, any of the school backpacks, anything like this?
Lots of holiday gifts, birthday gifts, lots of vacations together.
That's not my question. Can you answer the question I asked you?
So what, you mean like $20 for a backpack?
Yeah, I'm asking, do you buy school clothes for them? Are you assisting them with their health care needs? Are they on your insurance? Like, what the fuck are you doing for these kids, bro? That are yours, that you love and care about so much?
So during the day, I do some capital management, and I frequently trade accounts for the mothers of my children. So, on a good week, I make the right trade. A $250,000 split 12 ways. Not too bad.
Okay. You taking money from these women and then doing day trading on their dime again, where you, again, no risk liability to you at all, and you might potentially make them some money, is not supporting your kids. It's risking the money of their mothers, in fact, right? Isn't that what that's actually doing? You're literally risking their mother's money on behalf of some trade you think might work out for you. What is your actual risk here?
I've got to say, this situation has certainly limited my financial liability.
So no risk.
Seems that way.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't understand how on the one side of your mouth, and I'll turn this over to my partner here in a second, but I don't understand how on the one side of your mouth you can say, oh, I care so much about these kids. Oh, it's great. I fuck all their moms. But I'll even day trade with their money. I love day trading with their money. And if I lose it all, well, fuck it. I have no liability. No big deal whatsoever. I don't have to pay anything for these children. Meanwhile, I love them so much that I'll leave them inside of a single mother household, right? You're not exactly fighting for custody to get them out of those single mother households. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, I would never attempt to take my child away from their mother.
Yeah, you'd never attempt to mitigate the risk by 90% for homelessness, for instance, 89% children admitted to psychiatric hospitals. You'd never try to mitigate any of that risk for your biological offspring, right?
Well, hold on now. You mentioned homelessness. Now, I just told you a 22-foot storm surge destroyed my child's home, and I provided them with a home.
For 4 months.
You provided them with a place where you could fuck their mom.
That's what their mom wants.
Yeah, that's not providing a home for a child. That's not what a home for a child is. A A home for a child has a mommy and a daddy that love them and are taking good care of them. That's what a home is. A home is not a place where you go for a booty call with a baby daddy. That's not a fucking home, dude. And in what universe do you think that that's a good environment for a kid?
Well, I think that in order to have two happy parents, it's a good idea to have maybe two parents that care for each other and are in love. You don't want fighting in the household. That's never healthy for children.
Okay.
What? So I think I'm sorry. I just want to get this right. In order to avoid fighting with the children's mother, you're going to make sure that they stay in a single mother household. Even though you could help, you just choose not to because, well, after all, you have to limit your own personal risk when it comes to dealing with your own fucking children. Do I have that about right? And hearing that, by the way, hearing that out loud, does it make you in any way question the fact that you are probably the biggest fucking scumbag that I've met this year, and I know destiny?
Oh.
So I would say 95% of all posts that we see on Facebook demand no contact after the deed is done, and the vast majority of women actually want their genetic contribution shipped to them in the mail. They never want to meet the father of the child, and they don't want the child to have the ability to meet the father. And we're talking 90.
Yeah, but this is not the situation that you're in. The situation that you're in is you go and plow these chicks because you want to fuck them, right? And then they have kids with your genetic material that way, correct?
You're right.
I don't know why we're obfuscating away from this issue into other issues that have nothing to do with what you're doing, which is porking women because they pay you money, and then you get to play with more money from them. I guess you get to play with their investments and their savings in order to make good stock trades so you can make yourself more money. I'm not exactly sure how you feel like you're on a hero's arc here. Like, what is it that you're doing? What is this great service you're providing for society other than creating single mother households and people who don't know who their fathers are exactly? At least in the case, for instance, of a person who anonymously is a donor, what happens is the parents are carefully selected from a married couple, right? And then they go and they get the kid via IVF or something like this. It's a very careful selection for this. In your case, no, you just select, right? Just like, well, yeah, I'll plow you, and there's the baby, and I don't have any financial risk, and I never have to take care of it again, right? Is that right?
Well, hold on now. If the donor's anonymous and the married couple divorces, you've still got a single mother, and then she just can never identify who the father.
Yeah. So the thing is, everything's about mitigating risk, right? Not maximizing it. And I would assume that you would understand that you would much rather have a married couple have a child, even under the assumption there's a possibility one day they could divorce, versus here, single mom, lesbian, have a field day. Hope nothing goes wrong with my kid.
Issue number one, the top complaint amongst the donor-conceived community is lack of access to the father, and it has been that way for 20 years.
Yeah, so maybe you should have kids that have access to their fucking father, bro. Do you know what that means, access? Do you think that means that they want you to call them and say, oh, well, happy birthday. I'm sorry that your life's all fucked up because I left you there with a single mom and everything's going to get wrecked and put to shit. But here's the thing. I got to mitigate my risk, Junior. You know how it is. You know how it is, Junior. Sometimes you just got to mitigate that risk a little bit, right? Do you think that that's what the complaint of not having the access to dad is? Is that they don't call enough on your fucking birthday? Or do you think it's daddy taught me how to do everything in life? He taught me logic. He taught me reason. He taught me how to move through life. He taught me about masculinity. He taught me about everything. And he was right there through all of my ups and downs. He financially did a lot of the heavy lifting to get me in a better position than he was ever. That's what access to dad means, bro.
Perhaps one possible solution is we could limit pregnancies to women that are strictly married and deny pregnancies to single women.
Good idea. Why would you think that I would be against such a policy, or at least an incentive? So I wouldn't say that you could just, probably legislate that behavior out, but you could offer massive incentives for women who were married and had children. And I think that that would be good for society. And also, there's another component to this called social shame. Works fantastically well in order to keep women married. And if they were in even the single mom arena, for them to remarry and stay married, I think that that's a great idea. Fantastic idea. When can we get policy moving for that, and policy moving away from having degenerates impregnating women across the United States and Southeast fucking Asia, and then going ahead and gambling with mom's life savings? When can we do that? I'm all for it.
Didn't Southeast Asia? Sorry.
No, I'll put it over to Torshi from here. She hasn't had a chance to talk much, but
No, that's good. I'm just thinking to myself, this is exactly what happens when you put men in charge of conception. They make it perverse and disgusting. And I just, out of curiosity, how does it feel to know that every time you bang a woman, it's out of obligation? That sucks. You've never had like actual genuine desire. Nobody actually wanted to rip your clothes off. Does that bother you?
Oh, I've got to say, I've had plenty
Will you
of women
take
rip my
your-
clothes off.
Will you take your headphones off and stand up for me?
Sure. I won't be able to hear a word you say, but
That's okay. I don't really feel like you're listening anyway. Back up. Spin.
Are you having him do a twirl, Torsia?
Yeah. All the way. He's being a good sport. I feel bad.
He's amazing, honestly. Like,
I feel so violated.
Sport.
Just to the viewers, we did have like another pair for Hung Low, but he kind of got left high and dry, unfortunately. And he's kind of, and Hung Low, I'm telling you, I am grateful because you are taking this like a champion. There was kind of like no mitigation in this moment, unfortunately.
Oh, I appreciate it, and it's my pleasure to be here and entertain all of you.
So are there two types of like insemination? Can you talk to me about like the process or whatever?
Well, there's the standard IVF clinic and the cryobanks.
You personally.
Personally, every mother of my children, I have
when you meet up with
personally met them for a date, and we just go on a date like anybody else would.
And you go on a date, and then what?
I don't know. Go to mini golf, have ribs at Chili's, go to the beach,
and then what?
This is not like an immediate process. This usually takes a few months. I'm interviewing the person. I'm filtering. I'm trying to figure out if
you're trying to take on the woman's role. You're trying to have like control in this situation. Is that what you're doing? Because it sounded like in the beginning when you're talking about 666, you're like an incel. So I'm just trying to figure out like what the motive is. Because it's obviously not to actually help women. It's not that. I don't think I think you're kind of narcissistic, honestly. And I never thought I'd throw that word around on a stream, but you come off very like grandiose, like a hero. And it's like, I don't really feel like you're doing anything to help anybody. If anything, you're making the world worse.
I see where you're coming from. I understand. But like I said, about 95% of the women that seek out men like me, they don't want any contact. They don't ever want to meet. They want to they want to receive their genetic contribution in the mail, and I just don't think that's the right.
What are you going to do now that you're 40? Your sperm's expired. It's been expired. Just for the ladies watching, if you're even considering. No, it is. You don't think you hit a wall? Has no one told you this?
No, I'm afraid not.
I feel like you need to be arrested and thrown in jail.
You're not disputing that the sperm quality in men degrades starting in their late 30s, and it continues to degrade every single year that they're alive, right? I mean, you are aware that this is true, that genetic defects and things like this do increase based on that?
He doesn't give a fuck.
Well, no doubt, of course. We all age. It's part of oxidation.
Yeah, I don't feel like that addresses the point, but rather obfuscates away from it. So the thing is I wasn't asking if you're aware that we all age. I assume that you're not a fucking idiot and understand that everybody ages. My question specifically, sir, was whether or not you're aware that sperm degrades with age in men.
I'm sure that it does, but it can't be any worse than the damage that the cryo industry causes by freezing something to negative 150 degrees.
Well, let us assume that I thought everything that the cryo labs across the United States do is completely evil and immoral. Let's just assume it for a second. I'm not sure how that has a fucking thing to do with you. How does that have a single thing to do with you and what you do, sir? What the cryo industry does?
Men like me are the alternative to the IVF and cryo industry.
No, women keeping their legs closed without having a long-term partner is the alternative, isn't it?
Couldn't women just go outside and pick somebody?
Sure. They absolutely could. Absolutely. I tell women 7 days a week to meet your donor in person for a date, and they always try to throw me out of the group.
You know,
you can interview them.
Well, do you know what a false dialectic is? Do you know what a false dialectic is?
Like
do you know what that is?
Like a Hegelian dialectic?
No, not a Hegelian dialectic, just a false dialectic. So a false dialectic is what you're doing is you're trying to make a bifurcated choice. You're saying it's either or, right? We're the alternative to a thing which never needed to exist to begin with, right? There doesn't need to be an alternative for lesbians to get pregnant because they want to will their girlfriend their fucking Subaru and pretend to have a family, right? We don't actually need that in society. It's not necessary at all, right? So there doesn't need to be an alternative to something that's already fucking stupid, right? We don't actually need this alternative. It's not necessary in any way. Isn't that correct?
So lesbian women should never have children.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Correct, right? I mean, let me ask you a question. Can lesbian women have children?
Sure, they absolutely can.
I'm sorry.
Why do they go to you?
Can they have children with women?
No, not two women. They
no,
need a third.
Not two women. They can't do it, right? It's a very strange dynamic that it almost seems like there's a fail-safe in the system, right? There's this great fail-safe that says, wait a second, this is not a great pairing for biological offspring, and we know it's not a great pairing for biological offspring. You can't even have fucking biological offspring. So, but then enter you, and you come in and say, well, don't worry about it. I will give you, the person I know is going to be divorced within a few years, because all you lesbians get divorced, a child. And it will be all my offspring, and I'll never take care of it. How in the world, sir, could you ever justify that as being a boon to humanity?
Like you said, there are two options.
No, there's three. That's the false dialectic. There's three options. There's four options. There's five options. Let me give you some alternative options. Alternative option one, you stop being a man whore. That's alternative option one, right? That you could just stop it right now, and then that option's off the table for him, isn't it? Then there's this other option that you didn't mention, which is that we could have legislation against this fucking madness, and we probably should, because what a horror show, the way that you've described this. Another option that we could do is we could just say, well, wait a second, this is really bad for society in general. And people like you could just, find some kind of moral backbone and stop doing it altogether. Correct? So, I mean, there's many other options besides the two which you presented, isn't there?
I completely agree with you. I had that same line of thinking about 2 years ago, and I penned a bill called the Same Gender Equal Rights Reproduction Act. And basically what the bill did was outlaw child support outside of marriage and most welfare programs. That would thus influence what I would call Section 8 behavior.
What the hell does that mean? What is Section 8 behavior? You mean it's going to stop women from being promiscuous because they have to take the responsibility for their actions? Is that what you're saying?
Right. And having multiple children to multiple men out of wedlock.
Okay, but you're having multiple children to multiple women out of wedlock, sir. Where's your responsibility?
My children get to see me whenever they want. I'm not sitting down in federal lockup.
Sorry. Inside of your bill, did it say that, you don't have to pay any of this as long as your kids can just see you whenever you want? Or was there some sort of, were you angling for some sort of obligation like, I don't know, the reason that you're not going to get any type of assistance for this is because you're going to be stuck with a financial burden forever. And so because of that, that's going to reduce the chances of you doing this thing, right?
Right. So that would increase abortion rates.
Decrease birth rates. Right. Exactly. So your position is these women should be taking the full financial burden of the things that they do, right? And this bill is going to assure that they do that, right? It's going to assure, and so that's going to limit the amount of this that happens. Great. So where's that bill for you, fuckhead? Where's that bill for you? That also makes you responsible for the same exact shit that you just drafted a bill to reduce their bad behavior in doing. Where's that bill? Are you going to pin that?
Women have full choice over who they sleep with.
So do you.
Men choose who they marry.
So do you.
Men choose who they marry.
You have you have full choice over your own actions as well. But if you pin a bill and the bill is saying that because now women have to take financial responsibility with no assistance from anybody else, that's going to reduce promiscuous behavior, shouldn't you be held to the same exact fucking standard?
I don't have the ability to abort my children.
So I'm sorry, I don't understand. What does that have to do with anything?
If you were to get a young lady pregnant tomorrow night, do you have the ability to force an abortion on her?
No. What does that have to do with anything?
You have no control over whether or not that child is born. She has the right to choice to her body.
Okay,
you
realize that there are many states where they can't have an abortion anymore, where that's completely outlawed, right? And if you were in said state, are you saying that you would not still have passed such a bill, even though you know it reduces promiscuity in women? Of course you would have, right?
So
I'd like an answer to my question first before you obfuscate.
The rider addendum on the bill is a federal abortion legislation. So abortion becomes legal in all 50 states and all territories. But so abortion everywhere, and no more child support, and we're stripping the majority of welfare.
I see. So let me just make sure I have this right. I just want to make sure I get your worldview completely correct. What you're going to do is you're going to say, since women all have the choice to abort if they choose to abort, then that means that they're the ultimate arbiter, and so all responsibility then falls upon them, right?
Correct. So women will once again start choosing marriage over one night stands at the club.
I'm sorry. Why would they start choosing marriage?
Because there will be no child support outside of marriage.
Well, they can just have an abortion, dunce. What are you talking about?
Right. So once the child's aborted,
why would it lead to marriage if you could have all of the sex that you wanted with none of the consequence? That defeats the whole purpose of what you're saying.
Because if you're a woman and you want to have a child, you're going to want financial security. You're going to get married.
Yeah, the best way to do that is to have an abortion, especially if you're saying there's no moral qualms. You want it legal in all 50 states. How is that going to encourage marriage to tell women to just go ahead and abort their kids?
If you want children, you will get married.
Dude.
Dude, listen, wait.
What the fuck? What? You hate women. You actually hate. I think you're in the closet. I think we have literally this dude that's actually gay, because all the shit you're saying about women, get rid of this, get rid of that, you actually hate them. It's crazy.
Well, let me take a moment just to intervene for just a sec. I just want to say there's over 4,000 of you guys watching between all of the different channels. I'm watching it. It's really cool. If the viewers want to hit a like, subscribe, share, do that. She
means from my channel, by the way.
Huh?
She means from my channel.
Yeah, that I'm going to say 99% of them are coming from his. But I just want to say to all of you out there, all the viewers, please be sure to like, subscribe, share, do that part. We all love you. We're glad that you're here. Thank you. Back to you, Portia.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'd like to continue with my line of inquiry because this is incoherent madness. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. If the goal here is to promote marriage, do you realize that the number one indicator for marriage is going to be that the act of sexual intercourse leads to pregnancy, right? The unavoidable pregnancy. If you take that off the table, like with birth control and abortion, that reduces marriage because now you can have all that fun stuff, the sex part, without any of the responsibility, the kid part. So how in the world are you and your policies leading towards marriage, sir? You're doing the opposite.
We have a system right now where a woman can have multiple children to multiple men, and the state will support her. They'll give her Section 8 housing, food stamps. Maybe she can get child support out of 2 or 3 of the men. Maybe a few are in lockup and the state pays. I think that's the wrong motivation. We need to stop sponsoring this kind of degenerate behavior.
You're the degenerate. What do you mean? You're the degenerate. You're the behavior you're engaged in is degenerate behavior. You are literally going town to town and spreading your seed like your Johnny fucking Appleseed, and are refusing to have any sort of support for the women who, by the way, if you really cared about female responsibility, is it responsible, sir, for you or for these women even who you impregnate? Is it responsible for 2 lesbians who are going to get divorced, and you know they're going to get divorced within 5 years? Is it responsible for them to have your kid? Is that a responsible thing to do?
I think that's something that needs to be penned into the legislation. If you want to marry her and you want to tell her that you will support her after the pregnancy, you need to be held accountable for that.
Yeah, that's not my question. So I'm gonna reiterate my question because you sidestepped it. And so here's the question again. When perhaps instead of sidestepping it, you'll directly answer it. Is it responsible for 2 lesbian women who are likely going to get divorced, and you know they're going to get divorced, to have your child? Is that responsible of them, sir?
I think it can be. I think women can be responsible when held to the same standards as men. They can be just as responsible.
Oh, I see.
I'm telling
Equal
you guys,
rights,
this guy's
equal
in the
fights.
closet.
And these, let me ask you a question. These children who are in a single mom household, were the couples lesbian, sir?
They were.
They were. Oh, they were. Oh, they were. What a shock. What a shock. So wait, that could be, they're super responsible. Both times in the single mother household. And you, by the way, allowed this to happen. How in the world can you try to pin that other people need to be taking care of the fucking mess that you participated in making? And you knowingly participated in making it. It's just fucking wild to me, man.
I don't think our tax dollars should be supporting those single mothers and those children without their father.
You mean who wouldn't exist without you?
Well, who's
right?
gonna fucking pay for them if you're not gonna do it? It's crazy to me that, like, oh my god. Sorry, I'm triggered. Go ahead.
I think if we change the legislation, we can alter the behavior. I think the legislation is dictating the behavior right now. That's the issue.
Do you think you can be stopped? Do you think... Or
with the correct legislation.
Really? So you think there needs to be laws against what you're doing?
I think there need to be laws that hold people financially accountable for their actions. So when a woman
like
chooses to have a child,
listen up,
even people like me. But if we change the laws, women will start getting married when they decide they want to have children. And if we make abortion legal everywhere, if women don't want to have children, they won't.
Well,
they won't have any.
Let me go ahead and destroy this latest absurd argument by just going over some basic stats with you that I'm sure you can agree on. Can you tell me, sir, since you have the How to Date American Men handle there, I'm sure you've looked into dating statistics and marriage statistics, haven't you?
I have.
Yep. What's the average age for for a woman getting married right now?
Is it still 28 or is it 29 now?
Higher.
Don't tell me 31.
32.
Oh,
God.
no.
Well, that's almost too late. That's almost too late.
Almost too late for what?
Dude, you already hit the fucking wall.
Wait. It's almost too late for what, sir?
I have never seen a healthy pregnancy come to term after the woman is age 38.
Dude, your sperm is fucking ancient. Like, it's literally ancient.
So hang on. So I just want to make sure. Right. By the way, I'm getting corrected. Some are saying it's actually 33 on the average right now. I thought it was 32 last I looked, but it's still, even if it was 30, that would still be a massive problem, wouldn't it? And why? It's because of the healthy offspring, and the amount of offspring they're going to have is not very many. Now, sir, can you tell me what the birth rate is in the United States?
1.8?
No, it's less, 1.6. By the way, it's dropping like a rock. Now, let me ask you a question. Is 1.6 a sustainable birth rate for a population?
It depends on how long people are living.
No matter how long people are living, that wouldn't matter, right? It's reducible generationally, so it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if the generation who came before you lives 10 years longer, 5 years longer, because every single concurrent generation is going to reduce numerically. I mean, it's just simple math, right?
We would have to see a return to biblical lifespans, like Noah living 800 years. That's what it would take.
Yeah, okay, so it's not, yeah, okay, so then that's a red herring, makes no sense. So the thing is that Do you think that there's a correlation with the fact that women are getting married currently in their 30s to the fact that we have such a low birth rate?
Well, yeah, absolutely. You're
Absolutely.
100% correct. You're 100% correct. And I think a lot of that has to do with, bonding women into bonded indentured servitude through college debt. You send them to college, get them $50K in debt, and send them to work. They're going to work instead of getting married. They're working until.
But do you know why that is, sir? That's because they can have all that sex that they want, right, without any of the consequences of that sex, right? Because they can go have an abortion, and they have them to the tune of $1.5 million a year, and also they are on all sorts of birth control in the interim. And so what happens is they wait till they're financially stable, whatever the fuck that means, until they're going to go ahead and settle down, right? Your plan actually is going to exacerbate this problem, and I have no idea how you could ever talk your way out of this. If you make abortion legal in all 50 states for, and I'm guessing as late term as you can make it, but if you make it legal in all 50 states, how in the world would that not exacerbate the sexual liberation of women so that they can just go play the field as much as they want and get married late? How in the world does that not exacerbate the problem, sir?
Sir, what I'm attempting to do here is to remove the variable in the equation that is paying women to have multiple children to multiple men. I want to get rid of that kind of behavior. I think that creates problems in our society.
Yeah, maybe it does, but here's the thing. I'm just granting it, right? I'm just going to grant that causes problems. How are you solving that problem? By exacerbating the issue of marriage, by allowing abortions.
Did he? Okay, that wasn't just me. All right, Andrew froze for a second.
He froze.
While he's frozen, Noah R comes in with the 99.99. A guy named Hunglo, a redhead, a cat, and an Orthodox Christian walk into a bar.
Cheers, Noah.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Noah, for bringing some entertainment to this evening.
We needed that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. We appreciate you. Oh, Andrew, you're back. Yay, you're not frozen anymore. Oh, wait, no, I spoke too soon.
He's frozen like my 20-year-old sperm at the cryobank.
We'll give him another minute.
At least it's frozen.
And I wanted to actually ask the panel if anyone had an issue if Kat tapped out.
Andrew was so hard on Kat today, guys. She just can't take it no more. She done.
We'll wait. Torsia, would you have any issue if Kat tapped out and Damon came on? Okay, and Hunglo to you, because you are the most important. I feel like I apologize. I had this set up a certain way, and then we couldn't have it a certain way. This unfortunately happens sometimes. Andrew will be back momentarily, and Kat, as long as Andrew's good with, I at least want to make sure the panel agrees, because I don't want to. It's the panel, and they have the right. And while we're doing that and waiting for him to click back in, Jeremiah Cook comes in with the $10 to the Riddler. Oh God, to the I can't. To the Riddler strippergram. Every time you offer potential legislation, it is in response to harm that you have already done. Are you admitting that this legislation would kill your business?
Oh, interesting.
That is a good question.
Well, my industry is on a crossroads right now. The Republican candidate has stated that he's going to mandate that all insurance companies be required to cover all IVF costs moving forward. So essentially what you're doing is you're writing them a blank check and saying, charge whatever you want, the insurance will pay for it. So either we're going to have a massive change before that happens, or things are going to get out of hand next year if the Republicans get power. But yeah, excellent question. We're going to have change either way. I just want to push things in the right direction. I think if you can provide the incentive for marriage, people will get married and there will be two parents in the household. I understand you can't force two women to bring Jack Tipper in the house and, have this love triangle like Three's Company. But maybe allowing for contact with the donor father so the child can meet that need as they age, because that's really issue number one. But nobody is going to have the ability to stop two lesbian women from having a child. Eventually they're just going to go on a date or have a one night stand or hire a Chippendale to come over to their bachelorette party. And that's kind of what's been going on for a long time now.
Yeah, but that's better than you, or like even just a sperm donor that has multiple families. It's better if they just go pick some Joe off the street.
I was the Joe. I was the Chippendale. So
well, not anymore, because you have over 800 families, or did you say 400?
Whoa. I try to keep it to a dozen here in the U.S. Now, what goes on in Asia, I don't have any control over.
Right. So, like, I don't know. You said in the beginning of the stream, I don't know if you want to say it on camera. Like way before we started.
So how did this happen? There were certain interested parties.
No, how many in Asia supposedly? I think when Andrew was questioning you on it, you were saying like
right. The research firm out of Hong Kong alleges I've got 400 DNA matches between Singapore, Japan, Korea, and China.
That's really bad. In terms of like, do you know what half siblings are? Like,
I do.
Doesn't that bother you? You're like promoting incest.
Andrew, did you want to check your audio or anything? Make sure you're...
Yeah, testing. I should be okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
It's been a lot for me to think about over the last decade.
Hasn't stopped you.
This isn't the first time this has happened. Europeans have been sailing into Japan.
Stop blaming it on other people.
400 years
You don't
now.
have to blame it on other people. We're grown men. Come on.
They'll get what they want, and they will go to any lengths to do it, even if they have to buy hotels in the United States and Europe.
That made no sense. Like,
the backers, the capital that backed the fertility industry in Asia at that time, purchased corporations like RCI and bought massive hotel interest in the U.S.
They should all be outlawed. If you can't have kids, sucks. It's just my hot take.
Andrew, now that you're back, I wanted to confirm with you. We wanted to double check with the panel. Kat wants to go ahead and tap out and bring on Damon. I don't know if you're familiar with Damon or have any quarrels with him being on panel. But she wanted to. Okay, I think you'll be fine. Kat, do you want to send the link to Damon, and then he can just swap out when you're ready? And the floor's back to you guys if you wanted to take it from there. Kat's just wanted to step away.
I don't know. He's agreed with everything, so it's like I don't know what to say to this dude.
I've had a long time to think about this, and what bothers me the most is after I got the contact from Japan, from the woman's, trying to seek me out, and I got to see photos of the daughter. I think about all those children in Asia, and I wonder, if they had the ability to contact me, would they? Would they reach out? Would they want me to come visit? Would they want to come here? Maybe even just have a network to find out who their brothers and sisters were. Otherwise, they're running around, looking for other Japanese that have blonde hair and green eyes.
I feel like they can just download fucking 23andMe or pay for it or whatever, and then find out all the siblings near them that are related to them, because that's how they actually find out. It's not really they get to an age like you're saying and they're like, I want to contact dad. It's like, no, they do it or they find out on accident, and it becomes a very big ethical problem. Some guy just sued fucking Georgia over it in 2023. But he was actually with a fertility clinic, and he found out his sperm was used like 17 times. You're over here like 400 whatever the fuck, and you're like, I think about it, until you jack off into another fucking cup and impregnate them again.
Well, he doesn't jerk off into a cup. He actually just goes and physically bangs them. Right?
I don't believe one word out of this dude's fucking mouth. He's got a vest on like this, and he says he fucks bitches. My gaydar's going off. I hope you come out at some time or at some age.
All right, Kat, I believe Damon's in the back. I'm going to go ahead and drop if you want to say goodbye. Bye-bye, Kat. Thank you. And I appreciate everybody working with the odd stuff tonight. Of course, that's how panels work sometimes.
What's your body count? Not you.
Oh. I was like,
not
Torsia.
you. What's yours? Yeah. Sorry, what's your body count, sir?
Professionally or off the clock?
No, off the clock.
I've been married once, had a couple girlfriends.
I think by body count, she's talking about how many.
I'm looking for a number.
Yeah. I don't really play the one-night stand game. I don't drink or smoke, so the bar's not really my scene. Like I said, I've had a couple girlfriends, usually date for a couple years.
I'm waiting for a number.
What do you want to hear, a dozen, 2 dozen?
You're lying.
I don't think she believes you.
Why? Come on, why is that not believable?
Because you're red in the face right now.
It's just my healthy complexion.
No, seriously. How many?
Like I said, maybe a dozen, maybe 2 dozen. Who keeps count of these things?
This guy's a fucking dude. How many dudes? How many dudes?
No, that's not my
Are you
thing.
top or bottom? I feel
That's
like you
not my
take
thing,
it up
sorry.
the ass.
Oh my God, Torsia. Damon, did you want to
No,
go ahead and
pay
introduce
attention.
yourself?
No. Pay attention to when I say shit like that, how they take it. Pay attention.
Well, you said he takes it up the ass, so that's.
I'm all about, hey, be yourself. All my friends are gay. Fuck it. I can just tell.
Damon, would you like to introduce yourself to the panel and maybe make an opening statement since you're here?
No, I just bounce around. No, nobody special. But I will say that I'm 2 days sober. Second day being sober. Happy, feeling good. Although after listening to a bit of this, I kind of wish I wasn't. I'm sorry, but you do feel like you need a drink if somebody says nothing's going to stop 2 lesbian women from having a child if they want. I feel like nature does. Like, how the hell could you say that with a straight face, dude?
Because nothing can stop 2 lesbian women from going out to a bar and having a one-night stand. It happens every night of the week.
Better than you.
That isn't a lesbian act, though, right? So you're basically saying, oh, hey, you can dip your toe in. This is like a straight guy in Hollywood saying, I'm straight, but I'll fuck a dude so that I can get a role. You're not straight. Like, you want to have your cake and eat it, and it doesn't really work that way. Also, how many Father's Day cards do you get?
I get a few every year. Not like 400 or anything. No. I get a couple. Less than a dozen.
So you're telling me those kids hate you?
I'm sure some of them do. I mean, isn't that a healthy hate to have against your father?
They probably love themselves.
No, I don't think it's a healthy hate to hate your father. No, that seems like a very unhealthy hatred to have. Yeah. Generally speaking, the biggest complaint that people have is that they don't have access to their fathers, right? And this is a thing which you have stated multiple times. But when I ask you what the entailment of access is, it's just like, oh, well, you'll pick up the phone and say hello. But if it comes to any sort of burden inside their life, which can be alleviated by your labor or some skills which you have, or even money, at that point, they're just asking for, well, just too much. And it's just go ask your single mother that I made a single mother, right? Isn't that really what the idea here is?
I've never donated to a single mother, but, as we both agreed, around year 7 in the lesbian marriage, child age 5, there does appear to be a history of divorce patterns emerging.
Yeah. I would love it if they
I mean, there's no doubt, right, that the chances that you are assisting with single motherhood is drastically increased by what you do, right? There's just no doubt about that.
2 out of 12, what are we looking at? 15%. So maybe we alter some of the legislation to shift some of that burden to encourage people to get married and stay together.
Yeah, but we went over the legislation. Your legislation doesn't make any sense. You would be assisting in women getting married later in life. So even if they got married, the whole point, I assume, of women getting married in your purview is that they raise happy, healthy children. They're getting married in their fucking 30s. That is not the way, right? That's maybe one kid if we're lucky. That's why we're averaging less than replacement rates. I don't know how your legislation fixes this. That's the critical problem, not the idea that, oh, well, some of these chicks, they might, if they have to take financial responsibility, be less likely to get knocked up. It's like, even if that's true, that's not going to solve the primary issue, which is the fact that they're getting married late in life and not having enough children, and you giving them unfettered access to abortion is not going to help that a bit. Your legislation actually would drive women towards abortion, because you'd still be saying, keep all of your sexual liberation. Now you're responsible for the choice. Fair enough. But if they don't want that financial responsibility, sir, you tell me what you think they're going to do. What are they going to do?
I think it would be similar to now, but we would have less women with children to multiple men. You would have less women on.
Yeah, because they would kill them, right? They'd kill them. That's your plan.
They would abort.
They'd kill them. Yeah, right. Your whole plan is like, if you don't want to take responsibility, kill the kid. That's the actual plan here.
Right. So the women that do that wouldn't reproduce, and they would be the final generation of that behavior. The only women left in the future would be the women who got married and had children.
They're going to get married. They're still going to get married. They're just now going to get married and having killed many of their own children. They're just going to still get married at the same age, 30. They've had their fun. They've gone and done all the sexual partying. They've done all the college. They're going to do the exact same fucking thing. It's just that now they're going to have more abortions because now they're the sole financial responsibility, right? That's it. So I don't understand how this is actually going to help this actual crisis we have of marriage, because that's not what the crisis is. The crisis is not, marriage isn't happening because women are having too many children out of wedlock. That is not what's going on. What's going on is that marriages aren't happening because people are getting married late in life in their 30s.
We've told women they can do that. We've told women that a man will pay new car prices for a 14-year-old car that has a lot of miles on it, and that's just not true. Men who pay full price, new car prices.
You're totally switching the goalposts. Listen, even if I grant what you're saying is true, there's probably some agreement here, right? When it comes to the fact that, yes, there's tons of entitled bitches all over the place who think that they deserve to have all sorts of things they don't deserve to have. They've been run through by everything on planet Earth. Totally agree with you on all of this. I'm not sure how just saying, 50 states, all of them now have unfettered access to abortion. Women can still continue with the sexual promiscuity. They can now just eliminate it because all the responsibility will be on their shoulders. Dad no longer has to do anything, in other words, to be physically responsible for their kid. How does that solve for marriage? That's my question here. How's that helping marriage?
It's going to encourage young women to pursue marriage instead of this other behavior that we've been observing. So
why?
They're not going to wait till 30 anymore.
Why? Why wouldn't they?
Because they're not going to get the children and the husband if they wait.
Watch us.
Wouldn't
they do?
Why wouldn't they? What do you tell? Why wouldn't they get it? I don't get it. That's what they do right now.
But we just agreed they're not getting it. It's not happening.
No, they are, and their 30s getting it. Yes. What do you mean? How are you solving for that problem?
I don't think they are. I think when a man can afford to buy a new car, he wants a new car, not a 14-year-old car, not a used taxi cab. He wants a brand new car, and he's going to pay new car prices for it.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything that we're talking about? Even if it is true that men would prefer women with massively lower body counts, and I agree with you that they would, what does that have to do with the fact that these chicks are riding the cock carousel and getting married in their 30s right this second? That is the field right now. And you saying, we'll just allow them to abort their kids if they ride the cock carousel solves for the problem of them getting married in their 30s. How?
I've got to disagree with you. I don't think the women are getting married in their 30s. There are marriages happening at that age, but the marriage rate is much lower than it was in the 60s.
Bro,
are you?
Okay. Yeah, bro, wait. Hang on. Yes, it is going to be less than it was in the 60s. If women get married in their 30s, right, then you have eliminated this pool of the 20s for them to get married in. Therefore, there's going to be less marriages. That's how that works, right? So the thing is, you still have not solved for this problem.
The system right now tells these women that they can just go out and sleep with whoever. They're going to get the child support. They're going to get the state support. They're going to get the welfare. We've got to take that away to modify the behavior.
No, if you take... Listen. You can take away the social service aspect of this and say the responsibility is 100% on the woman now. Man has to pay no child support. Okay, I understand that argument, right? But what about the entailment of the argument, which is the way that we're going to enforce this is by giving women unfettered access to abortion. The idea here being, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you could have aborted it if you wanted to, but you didn't. So you must have wanted it. So now the burden's on you to support it, right? That's the idea?
Right. And that's going to encourage the women.
Okay, so we're completely clear on the idea. If what it's going to do is encourage women now, right, to continue with the promiscuity and just get married in their 30s like they fucking do right now and get an abortion before then like they do right now. How in the world does this solve for this problem?
If you're a young woman and your clock is ticking and you don't have that option at 35, you need to take that option at 25, you're not going to wait. You're not going to waste your time, working for whatever corporation and getting.
Why do they waste it now?
Because they can. We've told them. The legislation has told them they can get the child support. They can get the welfare. We've got to take that away. That's the issue.
No, listen, dude. Is there anything right this second stopping a woman from getting pregnant in her 20s and going and having an abortion? Anything.
No.
So you have solved nothing here. You have literally solved nothing. You're just giving women an excuse to get more abortions. That's all you're doing. You're just saying, okay, and if you want the kid, now the man never has to have any involvement in the kid's life again. But that's going to actually make more women have more abortions, sir. You realize that.
So you don't think this would motivate women to get married and stay married at younger ages?
Why the
fuck?
No,
I think it would motivate them to have abortions at younger ages. Why wouldn't it? I would need an argument from you. Here's what I need. Instead of an assertion of, what are you thinking? I've already told you what I think, right? Can you explain to me how, if a woman doesn't want all of the responsibility herself of having a child with a man she had a child with, and she's going to solely be responsible for it, and abortion's an option, how that would not be a much more appealing option for most women?
Well, let's look at the cultural differences between Southeast Asia and the U.S. and Europe. Typically a lot of the women over there, they're married before 25. They've got a cultural stigma. They're told that by the time they hit 28,
dude, that's where most of your kids are. What are you talking about?
That's exactly right. So I've had a lot of exposure to this. I've been through the divorce system. I've been married. I've been divorced.
I'm sorry, did you pin up this legislation in Southeast Asia, or did you pin it up in the United States?
No. They've had this as part of their culture for hundreds.
Yeah, right. So where's this legislation tailored to? The culture of the United States?
Yeah. So obviously,
it's the culture of Southeast Asia, which has a traditional style culture and has enforcement of shame standards, have to do with what we're talking about, which is United States policy. Can you explain to me? I'm going to ask you one more time. Please don't pivot this time. Can you actually give me an argument? And I'm going to give you mine again so that you understand it. If you take all of the shared responsibility of the raising of a child from the man and the woman, put it solely on the woman because now she can have an abortion, meaning you must have had it because you wanted to, right? How that wouldn't necessarily increase abortions drastically. How would it not?
Abortions will increase. I 100% agree.
Right.
I 100% agree. And
so
the
your
women,
plan is just to fucking kill everybody, bro. That's your plan. Your plan is just to kill everybody. Your plan, you're literally, what you're advocating is eugenics. You're saying, listen, these are dysgenic people, and I want them to kill their offspring, so that's the last generation we ever have to deal with, right? Isn't that what you're really saying?
Of that culture and behavior.
Yeah. So they're dysgenic, and you're a eugenicist. That's it. You're a cooming eugenicist. You want to be able to take all of the burden off of you, the man, for any of the behavior that you have, which is fucking insane, right? Men, that's one thing that is a virtue of men, is that they don't shirk away from responsibility. While I agree with you in spirit that women should be taking more responsibility in society, your answer here is to just have the ones that you consider dysgenic to kill their children so their line ends. That's your actual plan, dude.